All right, cyber traders, welcome on back here this Thursday afternoon, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. Great to see you, Wayne, David, Bonnie, Skip. Great to see you all joining us live inside the Cyber Group room and, of course, streaming across social media for right now, Facebook Live and YouTube. Welcome on back. So without further ado, obviously, I'd be remiss to begin by not talking about NEO here. So NEO breaking all-time highs, I mean, really, as soon as the market opened up, but still going. I mean, this has been an absolute missile throughout the entire day today. I thought about this on personally, like on the back end here. So it's not as if I could pat myself in the back and tell all of you guys I told you so. I thought this more to myself, and I wish I told you guys this. I wish I jumped in at this point, but I noticed, at least on NEO from early this week, it was building like a technical bull flag on the daily chart, right? The pop up off the squeeze from 2 weeks ago, then lower highs. Looks like a channel on the way down here. Well, I noticed back from Tuesday's trading, we had a huge breakout and then run up, closed at the highs. So I thought that there was going to be great room to see this continue. I wish I jumped in on a swing trade myself. I wish I told you guys. Nonetheless, it ended up making the pullback yesterday a pretty strong close nonetheless, as the markets dumped off and recovered a bit. And with the market squeezing up here today, NEO, I mean, man, this thing has just been insane. Literally, it is insane. The definition of doing the same thing over and over and over again, just ripping through iceberg waters on the ask, moving up higher heading into this afternoon. So, of course, NEO, we're going to keep on our list at this point, breaking all-time highs still. Follow level 3, follow level 4, otherwise, as we call bookmap. Most recently, it ended up re-breaking above a resistance. We had big volume filled off 3150. There was more filled off 31. And with that in mind, your next major level ahead, you would assume to be 32. I would even say, guys, just be a little careful of like even 3190. Maybe that range of resistance could act as a pretty strong top. But I would say 3190 to 32, to where we'll have the bigger iceberg order on the ask. Just keep that level in mind. All right. So NEO definitely on our list for right now. Now, another EV stock that ended up moving up nicely today. I mean, I will say pretty much everything moved up nicely today, but the electric vehicle stocks ended up soaring with NEO. We saw WKHS. Unfortunately, this came back down, but one of the cleaner trades, at least from the market opening up. This stock is typically on what we call our side list. A list of stocks that we'll typically call out when need be. The stock has great volatility, trades great range. We of course saw this stock back from I think it was even early September, breaking all-time highs. Yeah, I mean, even late June, early July, but of course, going back into September, re-breaking, workhorse. So today ended up moving up very nicely, pulled back after the market opened up, then broke out from 17. Beautiful run. Well, we have workhorse, and then we have one right now that's still kind of near the highs. It's actually testing a massive iceberg order as we speak on the bid. Solo here. Solo had some pre-market activity a little bit before even 9 o'clock, like more like 8:30 pop. From there, hey, after the market opened up, we were quick to the punch on this one. At least it didn't make the CTU main list. Not really much direction on this, at least after the pre-market pop. But after the open, consolidated around 10 o'clock, ended up making a new high, beautiful run up. So Solo, I think it's actually in the name, Electromechanica Vehicle Corp. So it says it right in the name. It's an EV company. At least for right now, the stock is still up 18%. It's testing a 515,000 share iceberg on the bid. You might think that could be a great buying opportunity, but if it breaks below that level, look out. So this Solo trade, at least for the meantime, we'll kind of keep on the side. I don't mind putting this back on our list just at the end. That's if we don't really have too great of a list, as we go from top to bottom, but we'll come back to this. It's a big iceberg at least, so we'll see what happens from that price. All right, so with that in mind, guys, we don't have class this afternoon. I can kind of take my sweet time as we just scan the market from top to bottom. Triple U ended up being the top percent gainer, at least upon the market opening. Still is, but obviously took a nosedive. So just pump and dump. This is likely to fill the gap back down on the daily chart here. Pola, P-O-L-A. We ended up seeing this make a nice breakout, at least after 9:30. Familiar name, at least for those of us inside our trading room that ended up catching this back at the end of September. This stock was like one of 4 or 5 energy stocks that were pump and dumps, but of course we catch the pump, much like this SPI. much like the stock SunW, which actually is moving up right now. But all these stocks seem to have moved around the same time back at the end of September. So when I think about Pola, I think about SunW. When I think about SunW, I think about SPI, and they're all in tandem. So actually, with this pop here, I'll come right back to SunW actually as we finish up this meeting. I'll put this on our side list with solo for right now. Hopefully there's more to it from this pop. But going back to Pola, again, very similar. We ended up seeing this make the breakout at least after 9:30. It was a really tough trade afterwards. Had a resistance off of $3, and then from there, $3.10. So 310 has been a pretty strong level today. First pullback held really well. A little shake afterwards and still held pretty strong from around 310, 305. Just pulled back under and over that price just here. But, of course, with that in mind, you could see the volume spike that came in. So a lot of selling coming in. I feel like this run is done at this point. More likely to see the stock pull back further heading into the afternoon. All right, let me zoom out on this chart here. There we go. REKR, nice move. I wasn't there to catch it. I hope you guys were able to catch a small piece of this. Broke out from like 350-ish, it looks like. I mean, really 339 the low of the day, but broke above resistance, likely off 350, moved up very nicely from there. It is shortable. If this craps out the other way, perhaps that would be the better opportunity for those of us that have TradeStation at least. And we'll see if there's better. Pinterest. So of course, you guys know Pinterest from what Fausto covered during the morning meeting. Ended up breaking all-time highs. Just another crazy runner, similar to Snapchat from last week. Still up, 28% right now. So with that in mind, very active stock heading into this afternoon, and we'll just keep this on our list here. Spreads can be a little wonky at times, but for a $63 stock, I mean, they're like 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cent. Not really that bad given the price. All right. IPHI, not doing much there. We'll skip down a few. I saw RLGY pop up on my Benzinga Pro scanner just before. Yeah, still pushing up nicely here. So I'm not really too familiar with why this stock's moving up here. Let's take a quick look. Throat is like on fire right now, so I apologize for any scratchy voice or any of that. All right, so RLGY earnings, they ended up beating the estimate, then their sales beat. So that's just what happened there. I'm going to copy and paste. So, I mean, looking great. RLGY heading into the afternoon. For right now, the spread's still pretty tight. Order book not extremely liquid, but a lot of volume getting filled off the 12 level, as you can see on the time and sales. All right, there's our solo stock. Again, we'll come back to this just at the end. I mean, it's just hovering over that 295. Notice, at least for right now, and I don't want to jinx it, but we have very minimal volume filled off the bid. Not much selling coming in at 295. So, clearly it's holding over that price, but the fact that we don't really have much volume filled even off that 295, very little selling interest so far at that price level. CRTO, look at this sneaky move up here heading into the afternoon. Steady trend. Volume's kind of light. I mean, for what we normally scan for, the stock's trading about 2,500 shares per minute, which is pretty light, at least for what we normally look for. So it's at the highs. Looks pretty interesting. Not really much of an iceberg order to work off of, though. That's my only gripe on this. So you might have to watch the retail time and sales more than anything. Notice there isn't really like a massive spike of volume here that got filled. It's like more off here, 1622. All right, for right now, I mean, it looks steady, right? So I'll put it on our list, but I like the Neo trade a lot more. I like that RLGY trade a lot more. That one's trading more volume, at least compared to the CRTO. All right, here's a familiar name, Vtvt. Pop and drop type stock. Ended up making a nice move earlier this morning, but kind of fizzled out. Is our Neo trade looking good as usual? GMPX, this one's pushing up nicely. Really quick backstory on this for anybody that's new to this meeting. I've mentioned this just when we've called the stock out in the past, but this stock was actually the first stock that ended up popping off of vaccine type news for coronavirus. back from January 21st. This was the first one. Then we ended up seeing like Code Diagnostics, which is CODX, Inovio Pharmaceuticals. We ended up seeing, obviously, Moderna, mRNA, right? So like all of those stocks we ended up, following pretty well. And this was the first one. All right, I'll tell you what, I think Solo ended up just breaking down below that iceberg order at 295. Let's see what happens. Yep. Just crashed right through that iceberg. All right. I was in from 301. That's how I know, because I had my stop order right under 295 there. All right, well, better to be out now, at least compared to where it dropped down to. I'm going to try and jump back in this if and only if it ends up breaking back over 3. This breaks back through 3, I'll be pretty interested. So again, I'll come back to this, guys. I just took like a 6-cent loss on this. I'm in one other stock right now. It's doing all right, but looking for a pop on it. We'll get to that actually pretty shortly. Let's see if there's anything else on the gainer side here first. LI, another EV stock that ended up breaking out pretty nicely today, right? A lot of volume just got filled seemingly off the 21 level here. Yep, right there, 21, 45K print. Bunch of these fills here off 21. A lot of buying. So pop and drop, it's been holding under 21 since. If this could break over 21 again heading into the afternoon, I'll be pretty interested in jumping in myself here. So LI, we'll put this on our list. We followed this from the morning too. CLSK, another EV-related stock, Clean Spark. We ended up seeing them make a nice push. This stock ended up doing really well for us. I think it was back also in like July time, right? Crazy trend on the way up. Accelerated off news, ended up dumping back off after. All right. Tupperware, I guess we'll round out the gainer side with TUP Tupperware. Moved up greatly after the market opened up too fast, and from there pulled back. So, pretty active, I guess, still at this point in the afternoon. But for the meantime, we'll kind of see if there's anything doing better. All right, we'll hop over to the losers list, and that leads me right away to the next stock that I'm in, the only other stock I'm in right now currently. TCDA. Might be getting out pretty shortly actually as well, because it's not really breaking higher from 450 here. So I'm currently in this trade right now, folks. I called this out off of $4.30. I was looking for a smaller squeeze up, so it took a little while, but I got the pop. I have an order on the ask to try and sell at 465. That was my thought. I thought there was a chance this would push up towards 470, so I was going to try and post a profit at 465. I'm still in this trade, but I might just be jumping out really soon. So, given the lack of activity here, I'm not as keen to put this on the main list for you folks. I mean, the setup was off 430. So I hope that there's a lot more left to this run, but it just doesn't look like it. So, yeah, I'm going to keep this just on my other screen. If this ends up kind of shaking back down a little bit more, I'm personally going to get out. But for right now, we'll kind of keep this on the back burner altogether. Maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. For as much as this dropped, you'd hope to see a dead cat bounce, and that's what we're getting so far here, hopefully. But, it also is shortable. So tomorrow morning, if this ends up providing a good short opportunity, then we'll try and follow it on the way down from there. Home HOME earnings this morning dumped off. Oh, man, Nokia got crushed today, too. We ended up seeing them gap down and then actually continue to dive off in pre-market. So I'd say the same thing. I mean, this is more of like a level 1 stock to watch. But given the gap and the activity here from this morning, I mean, it could be one to follow, at least if not for today, then perhaps for tomorrow, next week, so forth. Not really doing a whole lot here, at least for right now. All right, so with markets up, I mean, hey, we talked about this yesterday. The VIX symbols, we ended up kind of slipping them on our list. UVXY, VXX, and I include the Qs too, like SQQQ. They all kind of move against the market. So where you see the Dow squeezing and popping up going into the afternoon, this has been dumping back down, right? Wow, overstock. Geez, we ended up seeing the pop in the early onsets of pre-market by 8 o'clock, 8:30. But man, this thing got crushed. What happened on overstock? Was it earnings related? I don't really follow like the expensive stocks as much myself. Let's see, trading lower, selling off from pre-market strength after the stock gained following Q3 earnings. It says the EPS beat the estimate. I mean, really big beat, and the sales beat. All right, well, here's a news headline from 1:14 Eastern time. I'm just going to copy and paste for all of us live. It's pretty lengthy. At least it revolves around overstock, so perhaps that could explain more regarding the drop off. I mean, hey, for right now, though, I mean, beautiful trend on the way down. It is shortable. So for the meantime, we'll just put this on our list. Bit of a spread. I mean, we were kind of talking about like Pinterest and how tight of spread that stock had. This one's opening up a lot more. They're around the same price, right? So, you know, I'd rather follow Pinterest than Overstock, but Overstock, you have to respect that downtrend. So, you know, very nice drop off. Hopefully a lot more to come on that trade. All right, I stuck onto the TCDA, by the way, folks. It's back to 450, so we might get that pop up to 465 pretty shortly. There's Wayfair, W. Same thing. Really expensive stock, though, right? All right, that just about does it. That's all I see, at least on the loser side. So, folks, if there's anything else that you would want me to look at or call out, just let me know. We got a couple of chats on Sun W. That just popped up pretty nicely. Great call. And I should have went to that earlier. Debbie wrote that in the chat board just before at 2:40 Eastern time. And then James picked up 12 cents. James, let us know where you ended up getting in that trade. You always want to see. Ended up making the pop from 295, broke over 3. So I assume you got in right off 3, but dropped off from 319, the high there. All right, cool. So Sun W will put on our main list. I said I'd jump back to this just at the end, so rightfully so. Tony here in the chat board says TPR up 8% from the afternoon. Really nice run, right? I mean, honestly, from 21.64 all the way up towards 23 and change. So it's on a beautiful run. Now that leads me to think, Tony, given how much this stock dropped after the open and then how much this stock perfectly moved up, how much more is there to it, right? I mean, it's trading a lot of volume compared to its average. Not really a whole lot of volume compared to what we normally trade, right? Like Neo and Pinterest are 100 plus million shares today. This is at 10.5. But in relation to how much volume it typically trades itself, the stock, I feel like it's just gonna like exhaust out. Not a bad idea to think about this because it'll be a good stock to consider for tomorrow and next week, perhaps. You know, a good sideless stock maybe to keep in mind. Uh-oh, look who's back. Solo actually is right back to that 295 price, folks. So you know what? It doesn't look that great on the chart. But given the level that got filled, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, given that much selling, quote unquote, that came in off that 295, at this stage, you would think that it's going to hold under that price and that's it. But if this ends up breaking back over 295 and we see a lot more buying coming up towards 3, I think it could be a really good setup. So I'm going to put it on our main list only for that reason. I'm not going to jump in right now myself. But if this could break over 3, perhaps heading into the afternoon, I think that we might have a trade on our hands. All right. I think that just about does it, folks. All in all, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 stocks to work with, at least for right now. So, you know, listen, start and stick with this list. Neo is incredible. That's still pushing up. You have the overstock trade on the way down. You have a cheapie like Solo that's hopefully going to make a squeeze up higher into the afternoon, and a couple of others sprinkled in between. So for anybody right now, just start and stick with this list. Give it about 10 minutes. Don't just jump off to another stock, you know, unless if it ends up making a big pop, news-related breakout or drop-off. Only at that point, call it out or focus on it. Start and stick with this list. And then from there, hey, around 3:15, 3:30 Eastern time, we'll look to rescan the market a bit more from there, see if there's anything else making a news-related pop, or maybe just a move up with the market, perhaps heading into the afternoon. All right, folks, for all of us in social media, as always, make sure that you guys like, subscribe, notify right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. For all of our students inside the trading room here, going to post and tweet the picks. Take a small intermission from the mic, jump back on right at that 3:15 time, 3:30, taking you into the close. Take care.